2010 will hopefully be bigger and even better.
You both hate me!
You can talk.
Now, 2009, a fantastic year for the show, a lot of change, but it's been good. And, you know, the show's been on fire. We've told some stories of kind of very different natures, brought in some new characters, some new families, building for 2010. So hopefully it's kind of been a year that we can look back on proudly and say, yep, 2009 was good. Changes to come in 2010. I say putting some of our newer families at the centre of the show with some big story. Jay and Nick Hill and the Sharmas will have some really kind of blistering stories. Jay will kind of be tempted by forbidden fruit and find a woman that perhaps he shouldn't. Nick Hill will explore his first relationship with kind of a woman from our village next year, but that'll bring up a few surprises of its own, not least for Nick Hill. And where else? The Bartons, a great year for them. Very different than this year because, you know, we've rounded them out. They've earned their place in the show. But, you know, again, John will have a little bit of a roving eye at times next year. But they'll also be kind of tested collectively as a family. They've been kind of so enjoyable this year because we've seen how strong they are. That can't last forever, and they'll always be able to kind of come back, hopefully. Diane will have a fantastic kind of first 6 months as she finds love. From who, we'll wait and see, but it'll be very exciting. Andy will find himself kind of a new partner. He's not really put his hands up yet or apologised for his actions, and he'll be forced to. Edna, her house will be fuller than normal, shall we say, and that'll be exciting because it's always kind of great to kind of put someone like Edna kind of at the heart of the show. The King's a very different year. We've seen kind of Carl's dark side, but now we'll kind of round him out again and, you know, kind of revisit some of what Carl was. Jimmy and Nicola.
Marry me.
We're just planning their stories for sort of March and April, May. And they're kind of so new and exciting and take them in a really new direction. Elsewhere, a couple of new characters, some visiting in terms of kind of almost, you know, to guest in stories. Maybe a couple of kind of longer stayers, but they'll be earned as always, not just for the sake of it. Zach and Lisa facing kind of some real family tests. Sam and Alina is fab and obviously kind of gives us a very different take on the Dingles. And Zach's kind of, you know, a true patriarch through all of that. Marlon and Paddy. Cracking story for kind of late 2010 as their friendship is tested like it's never been tested before. And of course, kind of, you know, building on this year's, Aaron's kind of battle with his sexuality. It's dark and dangerous, but it's also kind of, it's touching and poignant. It's very real for a character like that. It impacts on Paddy. It changes his life. Yeah, I could go on and on.
This is a verbal warning.
There's always kind of scope for kind of new characters to come in, so, you know, the balance is always good and keeps the show fresh. And Joe will be leaving, who plays Eli, who's fantastic. He'll go in a cracking storyline in the spring. It's a treat for me to be here, genuinely. I wish I'd put a bed in my office. That was the one thing that they didn't tell me. But no, it's a joy. I've had kind of a great kind of 11 months, 12 months almost, working with probably just the best people I could imagine, both cast and crew and you know, production team. It's been a joy from start to finish. It's not always been easy, but it has always been pleasurable, so yes, it's been fab. There's so much stuff, and I don't want to spoil it, but hopefully that'll give just a bit of an insight as to what's to come. And of course it starts with kind of the House of Cards falling down, which is just the most kind of dynamic start of 2010 that we could have hoped for, and that will change everything thereafter.